baked mac and cheese, a copycat recipe from Sweetie Pie's, a diner from St. Louis, Missouri. It is creamy and delicious, and you're going to want to make it. Sweetie Pie's mac and cheese is a baked mac and cheese that is rich and delicious. We're gonna make a small batch today because heaven knows you could never eat a full batch. This is perfect for dinner, side dishes, whatever. I'm gonna put a link in the description below to the actual printable recipe so you can follow right along. It'll also have directions on how to make the pasta in the Instant Pot if you wish. This recipe calls for 8 ounces or half a pound of elbow macaroni. Of course, if you want to use shells, feel free to do so. You'll want to cook the pasta on the stovetop and cook it according to the package directions. So look at the time on the box. Typically it's about 9 to 11 minutes. But I suggest cooking it for about 1 minute less than it suggests. The reason is we're gonna bake this for about 30 minutes at the end. When choosing cheeses for this baked mac and cheese recipe, choose your favorites. After all, you're the one who's going to eat it, right? I do have suggestions for you in the recipe card below. If you want more of a robust flavor, I suggest using a smoked Gouda along with a Parmesan cheese and a cheddar cheese. You might also want to use a sharp cheddar, a white cheddar, Monterey Jack, or regular cheddar cheese. Of course, you will want to use Velveeta cheese as well, as it gives it an extra level of creaminess. Take the time to hand grate your cheeses. This is important because the store-bought grated cheeses that you can purchase are coated with flour and other items which keep the cheeses from clumping. And in this recipe, we want the cheese to melt smooth. In this recipe, we'll use 8 ounces of Velveeta cheese. Now, if you don't want to use Velveeta, that's okay. Go ahead and substitute it for another type of cheese that's your favorite. But I'm going to cut this up into little cubes. That way, it just melts nicely when we throw it in. You can see we have all of our different types of cheeses here that I've used. I've used a Parmesan, I've used a Monterey Jack, a cheddar, the Velveeta. It's going to be delicious. The recipe calls for 1 egg, and we're adding that into a half a cup of whole milk, along with 2 tablespoons of sour cream. Now, if you want, you can use plain Greek yogurt instead of sour cream, and you can substitute it. We're going to add 1.5 tablespoons of sugar, along with some salt. And then some white pepper. Now, let's just add to it our evaporated milk, and we're going to mix this all up. Once the pasta was done cooking, I rinsed and drained it really quickly. We want the pasta to be hot so it can help melt the butter and the cheeses. So while the pasta is still hot, let's go ahead and add in that cubed butter that we did earlier. All right, I ran out of room in that last bowl, so I've got a bigger bowl. Start with a big enough bowl so you can mix everything together and it doesn't slosh over the edges like I just did. Bad idea. So we're gonna put in the rest of the cheese and keep stirring. Now, this will get thick, but remember, we're adding in all of this milk and egg and seasonings and all that good stuff. So once this is mixed in, we're gonna add all of that liquid. Let's just stir it up. Oh, doesn't it look so good? Sweetie Pie's mac and cheese recipe is a famous recipe from a diner in St. Louis. There we go. Now we're just gonna put this in a baking dish and bake it. Make sure to top it off with a little bit of extra cheese because you know you want that golden brown cheese on top. So just mix up whatever kind of cheeses you used. Sweetie Pie's mac and cheese is going to bake in a 350-degree oven for 30 minutes. Let's get this popped in, okay? 30 minutes in the oven may seem like a long time, but in 30 minutes you can get your kitchen all cleaned up, ready to go. So when this Sweetie Pie's mac and cheese pops out of the oven, you are ready to dive in with your own beautiful plate and see that cheese pull, which is fantastic. Okay, so what do you think? Is it ready? I think so. It's done. Are you ready to dish it up? I sure am. Let's dive in and check out that cheese pull. Remember to let it cool for just a few minutes because it helps everything kind of come back together, and it's too hot to eat right out of the oven anyways. Oh, look at it. Doesn't that look fantastic? I am so excited for this recipe and more excited just to share it with you. I love this mac and cheese. It is so good, but what I really love is the top part where the cheese has been kind of toasty, gotten a little brown a little bit, because it has more texture to it. And it's chewy mixed with all the creamy cheese and the soft pasta. I'm telling you, it's fantastic. Don't mind me. I should be scooping this up for you. Just a minute. It's coming. So good. So good. I haven't eaten all day. The life of a food blogger. Seriously. So good. Okay, now it wouldn't be one of my videos without bloopers, so don't go away just yet. I'm gonna keep eating this because you know I love it. I only make recipes that I love. But stay tuned for the bloopers because they're a lot of fun. And if you listen real close, you hear Finn in the background whimpering and whining because he wants to get a hold of this too. Don't worry, animal lovers. We only feed him the best. That's Finn protesting that he really does want some. Seriously, you want a bite? Hi, I'm excited. Get rid of the hi. But it is a baked mac and cheese and it is wonderful. I'm gonna put in a link in the description below on. You're going to cook your pasta on the stovetop. Follow the, when choosing cheeses for this, when choosing cheeses for Sweetie Pie's mac and cheese recipe, you want